Aloha, everyone! Yesterday, I treated myself to a double feature at the movie theater. I went out to see first Transformers: The Last Night, followed by Cars 3. And I wanted to share my thoughts about both movies. I'll start with Transformers: The Last Night. I'm going to keep this 99% spoiler-free. I am going to give away one big spoiler at the end of my talk about Transformers, because this spoiler is something that it's revealed about halfway through the film, but doesn't really affect this story too much. It's more sequel bait, and it's really, really stupid. So I think it might be a good idea to give you fair warning about this really stupid reveal in the movie. And I kind of think that if you don't see this Transformers movie, it'll be spoiled for you in the trailers for the next one. So moving on to what I thought about Transformers: The Last Night. Okay, I think it's better than the last one. Certainly not nearly as good as the first one. I would say it's kind of a mixed bag. I think it starts off pretty good. It starts off in the days of King Arthur. We have a big action sequence with Knights of the Round Table fighting invaders, and I kind of like what Michael Bay did with that. I thought, maybe Michael Bay should be making King Arthur movies, actually, because I thought that was a lot of fun. Until they introduced Merlin, and Merlin started to speak, and I realized, oh, Merlin's a comedic character here. The comedy in the Transformers movies does not work. It is not funny. It is just annoying. I guess I just don't like Michael Bay's sense of humor. Michael Bay is strong with action, not so much with humor, but he does put a lot of humor into it, and that, I think, does affect my enjoyment of the movie. But other than that, I thought the King Arthur stuff at the beginning was very good. And then I think it leads into, when it goes back to present day, it leads into a fairly strong first half hour or so, in which we are seeing the aftermath of the last movie, and we are seeing these groups of humans that have allied themselves with some of the remaining Autobots, and it does try to focus a little on the emotional bonds that are starting to develop between the humans and the Autobots, and I thought they were heading in an emotional direction that had promise. I did enjoy every time Megatron was on the screen. Megatron, unfortunately, is not the main villain in this, as I think you'd expect, from the trailers and everything. But he is being voiced once again by Frank Welker, his original voice, not by Hugo Weaving, who has done him in the first three movies. And in the fourth one, he was Galvatron rather than Megatron. Frank Welker was voicing him there, but it was as Galvatron. So here he's voicing him as Megatron. So the first time he's technically doing Megatron in one of these movies. Although I think he's done it for like video games and things like that. But I really did enjoy hearing Frank Welker back. It wasn't his original cartoon voice. Seems like he was going for something splitting the difference between his original cartoon voice and the voice of Hugo Weaving. And I rather liked that voice for Megatron. I was really enjoying every time he was on screen, just seeing Megatron just be a bad guy, and I liked that performance personally. They actually even do give him a group of Decepticons that they try to give identities to and personalities. Like a lot of times in the previous movies, the Decepticons would get named, but other than Megatron and maybe Starscream, they wouldn't get much personality or anything. They were basically cannon fodder. They tried to give this group of Decepticons that Megatron's working with personalities. They're annoying personalities, but hey, it's a step in the right direction. They even give them like a Suicide Squad style introduction where they name every one of them, cut to a scene of them, and put their name on the screen. So, there's a lot of Transformers characters in these movies. They don't get the attention they deserve. These movies do focus too much on the human characters, not enough on the Transformers. So it seems like this is something where they're trying to make in this case, the Decepticons more characters. Not enough follow-through on that. So I'm calling that a step in the right direction, but did not quite exactly work. But after this, the first battle with the Decepticons, things just kind of go off track for me. I think the plot starts to get pretty confusing. It's kind of a mess. The story is kind of a mess. There are fun things here and there, but if you're I'm not going to go out to the theater to see this again. But when it's out to watch at home, I am going to watch this again and try to figure out the story, because it did lose me a little bit. I understand it in general terms the story, but there were specific beats that I was fairly confused about. But there is something just inherently fun about the concept of Transformers. I think that's why it's sustained itself for so long, and I think that's why people keep going to these Transformers movies, even though they are so critically panned. Since the first one, everyone since then has been so critically panned. I mean, even the first one, to some degree, gets a thrashing from some of the critics. But there is just something inherently fun, and I did have fun with it. But is it a good movie? Not really. But you may be able to have fun with it, because I did. The spoiler. Okay, this is the spoiler. Spoiler in 3, 2, 1. Earth is Unicron. Ugh. Alright, if you know Unicron, if you've seen the animated movie, you know what Unicron is. This is really stupid to make Earth Unicron. They're trying to say that this is the reason why Transformers' fates have been so intertwined with Earth, and why they've had so much backstory about Transformers coming to Earth. It's secretly at times in the past. It's all because their fate is tied to Earth, because Earth is essentially their devil. Yeah, it's dumb. It's really dumb. Will I see the 6th one? Yeah, probably. But I don't know. They may turn it over to another director. I think it needs the new blood. Michael Bay has said that he's done with it after this. He's said that before on previous entries. So I don't know if you can take that at face value. But yeah, I respect Michael Bay for what he's done. I respect him for the first movie, certainly, which I love. And yeah, he's a very good action director, and he's able to make it look like these huge transforming robots are inhabiting our world. And I respect him for that, but it's just been the same style the whole time. And it's not a style, I think, that is it's not a necessary style for the concept. It's just been one director's particular style, and I think it would have been more interesting to see other directors with different styles have a take on this. I know we're going to get a spin-off Bumblebee movie about Bumblebee specifically, and I believe that's going to have a different director. So I'm looking forward to seeing what another director does with the Transformers concept. Moving on to Cars 3, the second movie I saw yesterday. I loved it. I loved Cars 3. I thought it was fantastic. This Cars movie is all about racing, start to finish. The first Cars movie was about racing, yeah, but it was more about car culture and the old Route 66 car culture, racing being a part of that. And in this movie, it is focusing squarely on the racing the whole time. And if you're even a casual fan of racing, I think you'll appreciate this movie. My my father's actually a big fan of racing, so I've watched many races with my father, and I've picked up on little things about racing history, racing techniques. They're worked into this movie. There's a lot of stuff for you to latch on to if you know a little bit about racing. So I think that's great about the movie. The movie, like all Cars movies, has a lot of heart. It continues that theme of being about what's really important in life, and but it looks at it from later in life, because Lightning McQueen, as the premise of this movie, is now an experienced veteran racer, and he has been living the life of a champion racer and has loved it. He's had friends on the track that he cuts up with and everything like that. He's had just like the perfect life until this new generation of racers come onto the scene. They've got more high-tech equipment, newer training methods. They're just plain faster than he is. And so he, who has always been about speed, he doesn't have the speed anymore. And he's starting to have like his worst seasons ever because he can't compete. And he has a big crash. I don't think this is a spoiler. This is in like the first trailer. The first trailer you see, he's crashing. He has a big crash, which is very much like what happened to his mentor, Doc Hudson, the Hudson Hornet, which resulted in him having to retire from racing, and Lightning is facing the decision of, do I retire from racing too, as Doc Hudson does, even though it's my life and I love it? Am I doomed to follow that same path? And he goes searching for a way to make himself competitive again. And he learns things along the way. There's a little bit of a twist to the ending, which you can kind of see coming. I did, very early on, but still, it does have an impact. When you say it's coming, but you're just waiting for him. You're just waiting for that twist to happen, and it has an impact when it does. And I thought it was great. I thought it was a fantastic movie. I'm still a little excited about it, so I'm not sure if I'm unbiased here, but I think I want to make it my favorite of the franchise, Cars 3. I think I would rank them in reverse order. I think 3, 2, and 1, although I know most people don't like 2. I liked it a lot myself, so I think each one's a little better, but they're all really, really good movies. And I think if you haven't given the Cars franchise a chance, go into it open-minded. Don't think too hard about how a world populated only by cars works. Just kind of go with that, and just kind of pay attention to the lives and the stories that these personalities are going through, despite the fact that they're cars. Imagine they're race drivers instead of race cars, if it helps you. Out of the 2 movies I saw yesterday, I think Cars 3 was the big winner. For Transformers, if you don't like the Transformers franchise, this is not going to change your mind. If you do like it, this is not going to blow you away, but you will probably have fun with it. For Cars 3, if you don't like the Cars franchise, but you do like racing, give it a try. If you're not into racing, you're not into cars at all, maybe it might not change your mind, because this is it's still the same characters and all of that. There's some new ones introduced, but a lot of the same characters. So it's Pixar. Pixar, even when their movies aren't as good, they're still good. So that's my thoughts on both of those movies. I had a really good time going out. It's always a good time when you treat yourself to a double feature. It's it's just like a fun day, just a whole day at the movies, basically, for a good several hours. Just watching movies, getting a little lunch in between. It's a lot of fun. So like, comment, and subscribe, and that's a wrap.